Aquarius rising. Hey, hi, hello. My name is Mia Marie, and today's video, I'm so excited. We're going to talk about Pluto moving into our first house. I'm a fellow Aquarius rising, and I'm here for it. I am over the moon. I'm sure that you are also feeling especially if you're an early degree Aquarius. If you're a later degree Aquarius rising, this is still kind of happening behind the scenes, but us early birds are like, oh yes, woke up this morning, tingling, on fire, in love, awake, alive. So without further ado, the first house has to do with your physical body, your identity, your style, how you show up in the world everywhere physically. This is a transit that will impact every area of your life because it is the physical body, it's the skin. At the same time, Pluto, when it's in the first, is a planet that is about intensity and focus and power and control. And so these will be prominent themes in your life. All of that around your physical body and your identity. You might want to work out more. You might take yourself more seriously. You may just ambulate through the world with this sense of like, I got to do it. It's all or nothing. And consequently, people have very distinct opinions on you. They can love you and adore you, maybe even be obsessed with you, or they could hate you and have completely, you're not for their palate, and that's totally fine, right? Let's talk about how we got here. So Pluto has been in our 12th house since 2008, and the way that I like to think about this is you took an extended course in learning how to lose, how to surrender, how to distance yourself from an identity that served you up until a certain point. And along with that certain identity, there were certain dreams and expectations and lovers and karma and all of that. And so I think all in all, it was a pretty introspective period. Sure, you might have to been, loudmouth about it every once in a while. I love a good yap. But for the most part, a lot of the work that you did was extremely private. And you had to wrestle through self-sabotage, self-defeating tendencies, dreams that were authentic, but on the most unconscious, underdeveloped part of your spirituality or your spirit. Learning to let go of dreams, learning how to lose lovers, a life, yourself. And when Pluto enters the first, there is this, oh my God, I really just spent the last decade taking all this shit out of my soul, like all this weight off my wings. And I'm light now and I can move. And there's not a karmic contract that's keeping me held hostage. I'm free. And so there's this excitement, but then also this brewing intensity because you're so used to, Aquarius risings, you're so used to going up against the grain and having people say, nope, that's not right. Nope, that's wrong. Nope, let that go. Or even life showing you, especially in the last degrees of Capricorn, life showing you that what you want isn't it. Let it go. Give it up. And you have things and people taken from you, learning how to lose. And so now there is this sense of life starting to affirm you, where you're having conversations with people and they're trying to call you out as they have in the past, but you're like, actually, no. And I have something to say about that. And so you're feeling more self-assured because from an astrological standpoint, all of that unconscious bullshit that was getting in the way, that was clouding your vision is gone. You're starting all over. It's like, let's make new karma. So there is this, no, you're not going to settle me right now. You're not going to, I'm not going to stay quiet on this anymore. I have a good idea of where I want to start and maybe what my next step is. I'm not saying you have a 10-year plan yet. I'm going to give us some time. Pluto will be here for the next 20 years. I think one of the ways that this energy will most easily manifest is in regards to your style. You looking at your closet, your adornments, no, I want something different. In fact, I have created a whole ass mood board. I'm still getting the details ironed out, what is my brand? What is going to be my stamp, my style from here on out? Haven't ordered any of the clothes. I'm a little bit dude, people are gonna be like, what the fuck, is Mia okay? But anyways, I'm really excited about it. It's gonna be quirky and cool and also sexual, right? So because Pluto is the planet of sex and it's in our first house. So this is coming off with a little bit more sensuality. That's where the obsession that I mentioned earlier comes from. People can look at you and just be like, yum, I want you. I'm hungry for you. We're used to this, kind of, because Scorpio rules our midheaven, which means that when we show up on social media or when we show up to a social scene, there is that kind of sexual flair and flavor, but now it's just even more. It's like we're turning up the heat even more. The second thing to look out for is alliances. Because you are rebranding, because you have wiped away, so to speak, your karma and you're starting anew, you will show up and behave in a way that surprises people. You know, it could be your best friend. It could be a romantic interest. It could be your family members. It can be your boss, your coworkers. It could be anybody. Give them a moment to adjust their vision. And when they kind of say something like, oh, you're acting different, or you're acting weird, or, you know, like, why are you doing that? Don't take it as like an invitation. Sorry, I'm like losing my breath. Don't take it as an invitation to go back to where you are. You're not going to want to go back, but you might perceive that as like, you don't accept me? Okay, fine, bye. You know, but that's not the point. You understand where you are, where you've been, and where you're going, but maybe you haven't vocalized that yet. Or maybe you haven't shown up to the world in a way that gives the people in your life like a firm belief that this is who you're becoming. And so I wouldn't receive the feedback that is being given to you initially as criticism. It's more like, wait, are you okay? Like what's happening? You're changing. And yeah, so relationships can also be very intense because you don't want inauthenticity. You don't want to take care of other people. You don't want to be domineering. You don't want to power, right? You're being bestowed kind of like this power. Don't use it in a way to belittle the underdog. Don't be an asshole. Don't be a dick. Don't be a jerk. Don't be, be a good person. But at the same time, inauthenticity won't stand. And maybe some of the alliances that you've held for a very long time might be up, like the contract is up for renewal. And it's up for renewal because you are showing up in a different way. You are the change agent, which is another thing that we're used to hearing. But again, you're like, okay, not that person anymore. That gives everybody else the right to say, do I still want you in my life? You might even find yourself, which I'm not a big fan of this, but maybe other people are. I really don't like this language, but it's still coming out of my mouth. Like word vomit almost. I'm fighting it, but here it is like ride or die. Are you with me or are you not with me? Are you my friend or are you my enemy? This absolutist kind of attitude towards, we're either all, like there is no middle ground anymore. There could be relationships that you have tended to for years and years and years, and you're like, oh my God, we're not growing in the same direction anymore. Or maybe we are at this point where we have to learn how to support each other from a distance. And so that makes me so sad. I fucking hope that's not the case. But, tough moments in relationships. Because this Pluto in our first house is opposing our key important relationships. That's business partners, that's best friends, that's lovers, that's husbands and wives, that's soulmates, that's the other side of us, that's the other mirror of us. I'm curious to see how this transpires. You will attract your natural soulmates at this time. And they will likely be there are times throughout the year where there will be Mars transiting through Leo, and I know I'm speaking a lot of astrology, but just bear with me, is like your natural partner will have that fire too. It's not that they'll just be like a little bitch, and like do what you want to do. They come with just as much vision and just as much strength, but maybe in a different way. And you guys can work together to combust and become fireworks is kind of the sensation that I'm feeling, but who knows? So you will also attract people who have something to learn from you. And that's not to like stroke you, that's because of the power of the moment. So Aquarius represents what's happening on a collective level. And finally, you have the microphone, right? So there are probably a series of experiences you have accumulated over the years that prepare you to have uncomfortable conversations. There is maybe this awareness of, okay, I thought that Aquarians were supposed to be black sheeps and outsiders, but now that I've been an outsider and a black sheep, I can't do shit there. I have to be a part of the community. I have to be a part of a group of people in order to make an impact or in order to make a difference. And so there is this dissolving or this releasing of detachment as a form of like your shield you're not so prone to saying, I don't care, it's not that deep. Instead, you're like, it is that deep, and I'm right here and I'm in it. Another thing, your physical body will change. I did talk about style, but also like the construction, the sculpting of your body might be a focus of yours. For example, one of my friends, shout out Zach, just had Pluto cross his ascendant not too long ago, and the person that he goes before that transit and afterward are two completely different people. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pluto was in Capricorn since 2008. I mean, everyone looks different. There will be a window of time where it is crystallized for you, right? So, for example, I'm an early degree Aquarius rising, which means that from now until like 2027 is when like the fire strikes hard. So look at what degree of the rising sign that you are, and then take the two degrees before and the 2 degrees after, and that is when you will be under the knife, so to speak. You could be getting stronger. This is also a time where, if you know, because I'm sure that you do, don't lie to me, you know what your self-sabotaging behaviors are. You know when you're back on your bullshit, or when you're, entertaining bullshit. Pluto is not forgiving, especially now. It was patient with you for the last transit when it was going through your 12th house. That was all the patience that you're allowed. Don't succumb to that dark entity. Why am I so intense? Don't succumb to the part of you that wants to stay small or stay like on a low functioning headspace, vibration. Cut out bad habits. Cut out addictions, afflictions, people in your life who benefit from your willingness to fracture yourself to fit into their life, right? Step into your power, use your power to bolster everybody. That's how we're wired, that's how we're oriented, but just in case. And what else? Physical body, style, relationships, soulmates. Yes, many of you guys could have a change, like a very obvious change obviously over the course of 20 years, but when Pluto is when Pluto is a close degree to your ascendant sign, you could get divorced, you could get married, you could have a baby, you could do something that the world receives as like a death and rebirth experience. Pluto is about death and rebirths, and so you might find that you build a lot of steam and momentum in one direction, and then the fire goes out and you have to pick up and redirect. And it's kind of like, I'm seeing like Tasmanian devil going from side to side. Anyways, I think that's all I got for you. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments. Toodles, bye.